Welcome everybody to our event, My Life, My Business, which I am here, which always talks about being engaged and present in your life. And why do we talk about these things? Just remember, it is our desire that you enjoy this game of life, you enjoy the journey of doing life, but never doing life on your own with others. So just encourage you to listen to our topics. I also want to extend a special welcome to my co-host, Dr. Shanaaz Hussain, who is going to take us through her topic tonight. And as usual, it's always interesting, riveting, and so much to learn from her. So, yeah, without further ado, over to you, Shanaaz.
Hi, Jacques. Thank you. So, what I wanted to talk about today, it's a book. It's called My Personal Dream Book, and it's by Mike Murdoch, and it's the School of Wisdom series. Anyway, but besides that, there was a few things in there that I always found interesting, and I actually tend to I over the past year I've developed a love for slogans, and I think that they are sometimes slogans are nice little nuggets of wisdom that you can easily absorb, and it has so much meaning, and yet it's very short, because that's the purpose of slogans, and it's really to motivate you. So he's got in his little book, he's got 31 days to achieving your dream, and in it he's got 31 slogans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some of my favorite ones, and how I kind of used this in a sense, and applied it to my own life, and can see like how, and will want to apply it again. So the book was missing for a time, and then it's like not too long, but then I found it again, and it's just inspired me again for new dreams and different dreams. We can have more than one dream, and we can have many little ones as well. So I'm going to start. So one of the first ones that he talks about, he says, is that your dream is anything you want to become, do, or have during your lifetime. And I discovered that some people don't dream, they don't have dreams. And I think that that's, for me, I think that that's sad, because I think a dream, kind of, and not the dream that you go and dream at night. This is like your vision, and it can be connected to your purpose often, but it doesn't have to be connected to your purpose either. So like one of my, in a sense, dreams that is not necessarily connected to my purpose is traveling. Right? I always, like, as a child, I dreamed of traveling. I just wanted to travel. I remembered that I grew up during apartheid, and at that time it wasn't really possible for people of color, or your opportunities to travel was limited due to a range of reasons. They didn't welcome South African visitors, and they didn't, also many countries didn't welcome. It was difficult to get a visa, but financially as well. So traveling was one of my dreams. And then also, I think having a career and going to university, I think I had this vague, it's kind of evolved, but definitely the traveling was one. So that's a kind of a side dream, not connected to my purpose, but also in terms of working with people, I think was another dream that I had. So I'm going to chat a little bit about some of those things with a slogan. So, as I said, the first one was, your dream is anything you want to become, do, or have during your lifetime. So, a lot of mine was about doing and becoming. So, I wanted to travel, and the idea was that I wanted to work with people. The next one is that your dream must be believed, pursued, and protected to be achieved. I'm going to say it again. Your dream must be believed, pursued, and protected to be achieved. And I'm not going to go into detail about that one because there's a number of them. And if need be, I will continue with them when I chat again. But there are a few that I've circled that I would like to kind of go into more detail. And the next one is the one that I want to chat about. It says, he says, your dream can come true regardless of your personal limitations. I'll read it again. Your dream can come true regardless of your personal limitations. And I want to say absolutely. Um, when I think of, if I just use the traveling one, for example, I think because we were so isolated in South Africa, I kind of always wanted to travel, but there were so many limitations. Like financially, I was never going to be able to afford it. And you have no idea, it was quite funny. I think my mom found it interesting and amusing, but I would desire to want to study abroad even in high school. And I would search up universities and high schools in abroad in the UK and in the States, and I would write to these colleges, and you won't believe it, they actually kind of a number of them responded. And so finances was an issue at the time, right? But then not only finances, right? What then started to happen was that in terms of just having the time to go and travel. And so I was like always interested in this, but just could never seem to either have the money for it, have the time for it. It seemed like there were so many obstacles, personal things. Also, my dad was ill, and I didn't have the money, and I didn't have the IQ of a genius to earn these exceptional scholarships where it was possible, so where it slowly started to be possible to travel, for example. And I had even applied for the Rotary exchange student, and somehow I think I applied like 3 times, and each time I like get to I'm the second choice. Like if anything happens to the first choice, then I would be. So I had all these opportunities, and I kind of pursued it. I continued, and then I went to university, and I did, I studied social work, and I kind of never thought about it. I was interested. I started to earn my own money. And then the amazing thing happened was that there was the UK were looking for social workers. There was a shortage of social workers, and suddenly they were advertising it, and I was one of the social workers chosen to go and work abroad. And I got like a working permit. Everything was arranged and organized, and off I went to the UK. And it was there, sort of literally, I think it could have been 20 years later, like literally my dreams, like it was happening. Not only was I working abroad, but I then had the opportunity to travel around Europe. And I couldn't believe, like, after this amount of time, that year I was. And so and I also want to add that I got into university. I wasn't a brilliant student, but I was a hard worker. And I took a gap year before I went to university. So, and at the same time, my dad was also bipolar. My mom was the only person working. I was the second income in the family. So there were kind of lots of things, but eventually I turned 30 when I did this. And I had this amazing opportunity and have been able to travel abroad. And so just want to encourage people that it doesn't matter what your personal limitations are. um, I often laugh about how I got into university, just in terms of, like, I was an average student, but I, kind of had a very good life experience, and I was very motivated. and I got in on the essay that they ask you to write, because social work is kind of competitive to get in. They only have a number of places. And so my encouragement to everyone out there is to not look at your family background, your educational qualifications, or your high school, results. No matter what your personal limitations are, it's still possible for your dream to come true. So that's the other one. The next one that I want to say is, what he says is, every daily appointment should be a stepping stone towards the fulfillment of your dream. I'm going to read it again. It says, every daily appointment should be a stepping stone toward the fulfillment of your dream. And what he means by this, literally, every connection that I make, if I really want my dream to be fulfilled, every connection that I make, every appointment that I make, every activity should be geared towards fulfilling your dream. And so there isn't almost things, in other words, things don't actually happen by chance, because this is about, pursuing your dream here. And when I looked at that, I realized it was the funniest thing. But I met high school friends of mine unexpectedly, and they were like, and they said to me, "Oh, Shanaaz, you were always so busy and with your studies, and you always had, I'm not surprised that you kind of went and did what what you did, and that you also got the chance to travel, and that's what you want to do." And when I started to look at that, I had realized that even in high school, I had started to make choices about my life and about my dreams. And I think that I was so aware of those choices that I had even asked my mom to change schools so that I could get into university. And I think also with this idea that once I got into university, I could probably travel. And so what I want to encourage people to do is to think about what of which appointments in your daily schedule is taking you towards your dream, is one step towards your dream, or are there things in your daily schedule that is actually taking you one step away from your dream, or steps away from your dream? And I real when I because I've worked with some people, and I've realized that some of them, in my professional capacity, they are quite unhappy. And I'm dealing with currently with a lot of students who, for example, didn't get into a particular course because they're highly optimistic, and then they are suddenly faced with the reality of life, and needing to kind of think a bit about their decisions. And I realized that when we are not making these daily steps towards the fulfillment of our dream, we actually end up being unhappy, because it feels like we are not satisfied. And I find that a lot of adults that I speak to are in jobs and are in situations where they are quite unhappy, but they can't seem to think that maybe a small step they could take, that the whole, or not a small step, that sometimes fulfilling your dream has actually got to do with your daily routine, and your daily appointments. And so maybe there is something in my daily appointments that I need to arrange or schedule that is going to take me one step closer to my dream. I'm not saying that you're going to achieve your dream, in a month's time. But if I consciously and choose to live, and I think we often speak about living intentionally, when I consciously choose to take I make or do an activity which helps me towards the fulfillment of my dream, it actually makes me happy, even though I have not yet achieved my dream. And I think that for me, I can really say that I am absolutely privileged to be able to work in a career which satisfies me, and which I regard as a calling, and it fulfills some of my other dreams too. One of it is, as I mentioned, is traveling and working with people. And I realized that I actually become unhappy in a week when I am not doing anything in my daily schedule that is taking me towards my dream. And maybe that is where the unhappiness comes in sometimes, that we're not choosing and we're not thinking about what we are doing in our daily schedule or routine that actually makes us happy, or is a step towards our dream. So I realized that even in high school and even at university, unconsciously, I was constantly taking steps towards fulfilling my dream of traveling abroad. And I have to also tell you, in terms of even the limitations and the obstacles, I did not get a job immediately after I graduated. I was one of those graduates who didn't have a job, and I went to do volunteer work for a year, 2 years at an amazing companies, and I learned so much. And so I want to tell you that your dream can still be achieved again, regardless of your personal limitations. But I think what I realized was that I didn't put my dream, give up. And I knew that even the working and the volunteering was actually taking me towards my dream. And so the next thing actually says, your dream may require a geographical change. And I realized, and I'm going to say it again, your dream may require a geographical change. So I had a bit of a a smile about this, because currently my nephew got in for veterinary science, but one of the challenges is in Pretoria University, so at Turkish, and one of the challenges for him was that he never wanted to leave home. He was like waiting on an offer from another university to study in Cape Town. And I just want to encourage all the Cape Townians out there that Cape Town is not the center of the world, and that if you sometimes, if you want to pursue your dream, whatever that dream is, you actually may need to leave Cape Town, and you'll be fine. And I can share that. And my nephew had to make this because veterinary science was his dream career, and it was a very difficult decision for him to make, because he's only 18, just turned 18 in December, and we were all feeling sorry for him. But one of the things, and then he did get an offer while he was at RIS, he got an offer for another university in Cape Town. But you know what he said? He drew up this pros and cons list, and he said that veterinary science, the pro about staying in Pretoria was that veterinary science was his dream career. And so for me too, I realized that if I'm going to travel and if I want to, then I'm gonna have to leave Cape Town. I'm going to have to, whether that means that I work and live in another country for a while, I had to do that. But I also want to encourage people that sometimes a geographical change in your dream doesn't necessarily mean moving continents or countries or provinces even, but it can just mean that a shift, a change in the current geographical space that you are in. And I think that sometimes we get too used to our comfort zones, just like my nephew. And I got used to, I mean, particularly people in Cape Town, we love it. And it is a beautiful city, but there are certain things that you cannot pursue within Cape Town. And I want to encourage you to kind of leave Cape Town if your dream requires you to do that. So the next one is that your dream should qualify for your total focus. And what I want to, I mean, we all know that if we pursue this, and this is our single focus, then it is actually possible to achieve it. And so what happened to me was that I needed to actually do my PhD. And and I want to say that I was amazed at myself, because often I think there are times I can be a bit ADHD, and struggle with focus. But I kind of realized that when something is really important to me, and it's part of fulfilling my dream and my purpose, then I can absolutely focus. And I was one of the candidates who finished their PhDs in, and a decent enough PhD, if I must say so, in a really short period of time. Like I took 3 years and 2.5 years to 3 years, and usually the average amount of time is 5 years. And I know someone who took 9 years. So I think that what then happened was that I made it my sole focus. I changed so many things in at that time. My boss gave me time off to pursue my PhD. I even had a notice on, and my family always remembers this. I had a notice on my door that said, my bedroom door, that says, "Please do not disturb unless someone is dying." And I have a laugh at it now, but I realized I was so focused, and there's one or two areas in my life I would love that focus that I had then, where I could say, like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm only going to stop unless someone in my family is dying, or someone I know close to me is dying. And so absolutely, your dream should qualify for your total focus. And I think that it's possible. When I've seen the things that I've been able to achieve, then I know that when you find the passion for the dream and you want to pursue the dream, for those of you who struggle with focus, you will be able to focus. And then one of the with the time going, I'm going to finish off and choose the last one, or maybe two more. But it says the passion for your dream must increase so strong that it burns within you without the encouragement of others. So I'm going to read it again. The passion for your dream must increase so strong that it burns within you without the encouragement of others. And I think that this is when everyone was, of my friends and my peers, were busy partying and were doing their own thing. I was busy studying, and I had to really make a lot of sacrifices, and in that way, and people weren't encouraging me. Sometimes an academic career can be extremely isolating, because you're the only one that gets excited about your topic, no one else, because there's 12 of us, and there's so in social service professions and the helping professions, there's so many global problems and personal issues that there's no competition. Generally everyone can pursue their own focus, and so that means that very few people will actually encourage you. And I think not only in academics, but in many people's dreams and young people's dreams that I've encountered, they don't necessarily have the support. And so that means that I needed to, and we need to continue even when others don't encourage us. And I know that, Jacques, you've experienced similar things. Maybe initially people didn't support you, but then eventually they came along. But if we want to pursue it, then we sometimes need to do it without the encouragement with others. And maybe a really nice final one to think about, is, he says, every relationship will move you toward your dream or away from it. I'll say that again. Every relationship will move you toward your dream or away from it. And for me, I needed to consider all the people that I was involved with. I can be a very social person, And I needed to kind of take stock of, if there are certain things that I want to achieve in my life, maybe I need to cut down on some of the socializing, or maybe there are relationships that are not necessarily helpful for achieving my dream. And it doesn't mean that I don't like the people. It just means that maybe I need to learn how to spend my time wiser, or more productively when I am with those people, or I need to limit the time that I spend in certain relationships, so that the relationships that can help me towards my dream, I have more time for that. And so, yeah, I'd like to kind of finish off with that. And thank you. Over to you.
That was so cool, and I say cool because it is something that is very close to my heart when we talk about dreams. And the very practical way you were just sharing that, because I think, we think about, when we talk about these things, we often think, well, because of my circumstances, it's too expensive even to dream. I can't afford to dream. The reality is, I've got bills to pay, and off to work I go to service these things. And we don't often align our activities to the dream that we are pursuing. And therefore, and just Shanaaz, that despite personal limitations, I mean, I absolutely believe that if you have a dream and you focus on that dream, you make decisions, you actually make rational decisions that become self-fulfilling prophecies to achieve that dream. It really sets you on that path. And so, for the realists out there, listen, please change your mindset. Allow yourself to dream. And everybody can dream despite your circumstances, despite your socioeconomic status. Dream. And then when you dream, obviously, the way I see it, dream big. Really dream big. And the last thing you said, Shanaaz, was about relationships, and I think that is so important. Is when you're thinking about relationships, is two classes of people: barriers or boosters. Surround yourself with boosters, people that support you, that encourage you, that are your cheerleaders, that don't tell you that, listen, get your head out of the clouds, put your feet on the earth, and be realistic. Something is to be said. It is the what is energizing. It is that relentless pursuit of the dream that you have, which makes every single day interesting, and it gives you opportunity to be highly energized and engaged in your day. So wonderful. Loved it.
Thank you, Jacques. You keep well. Thank you.
Yeah, so fantastic. Bye, everyone, and we'll chat next week.